Welcome to Safety Talk. Personal safety expert Pete Canavan shares his insights and interviews experts who provide simple and effective tips, techniques, and technologies to keep you safe and secure both online and off. Here's Pete.
Hello and welcome to Safety Talk. On this show, we discuss and bring attention to a wide range of personal safety and security products and solutions that are available to both businesses and individuals in the digital world and the physical world. I'm your host and personal safety expert, Pete Canavan. As a self-employed information technology consultant since 1995, and as a martial artist for the last 20 years, I bring decades of personal safety and security experience to my role as the host of this show. To learn more about how I can help your corporation, conference, or college, visit my personal website at petecanavan.com. So thanks so much for tuning in here again today. We've got another incredible guest for you guys. And so thanks for being here. It's sure to be informative and interesting. And I think you guys are really going to love what we're going to be talking about today. Today's guest is a telecommunications expert who has spent his entire professional life in the cellular and communications domain, from chip and modem design to cellular certification and telecom infrastructure. He has worked and founded a number of telecom startups, including a company called DSPC, which he actually sold to Intel, and Voco over the past 17 years. His unique professional experience has led him to an insight that the evolution of the phone really has been confined in the last decade to processing speed and really what is amounted to minor features. So this was when he came up with the idea to add a fourth dimension to the smartphone and co-founded a company named Cubed Mobile. As co-founder and chief product officer of Cubed Mobile, he has basically developed and patented, as well as a patent-pending technology, which transforms one mobile device into two, basically encapsulating an entire business smartphone inside of a super app. It sounds fantastic and really neat, so I'm really interested to find out more. The idea for this came from his long experience in the mobile space. And so with traditional mobile device management being, like with the bring your own device model, BYOD, your company ends up actually owning the personal data on an employee's phone. And they do that to ensure that the corporate network, of course, is protected, which is very important. But instead, with the Cubed Mobile technology, it actually delivers a separate, secure, as well as a complete workspace combined within this unified communication hub. So sounds, again, like some pretty incredible technology that today's businesses and remote workers are going to really benefit from. And so let's learn more about it from today's guest. So I'm pleased to welcome Tzachi Zack to Safety Talk. Welcome, Zack.
Thank you very much, Pete. Actually, that was I couldn't do it myself better than the way you presented the company and myself. So thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, I do my research and I try to practice a few times if I have time. It's great to have you on the show and joining us from Israel, all the way from Israel. So they're, across the pond there a bit. I'm glad we could, coordinate a time to get together here, because when I found out about the product and the company and the solution you provided, I was fascinated by it. So as I do with, all my guests, I do some research and couple that. And, with the increasing numbers of home-based and remote workers, really, I've got a ton of questions for you. So we're going to jump right in and get to it. Okay.
Okay.
Cool. So now, as I understand it, and this is kind of like a bird's eye view for our listeners here, Cubed Mobile has this super app that basically transforms your existing smartphone into two devices by something called siloing. It's almost like kind of cloning the device, but what it does is it creates a whole separate business smartphone space on a single device. So for those that are unfamiliar with siloing, essentially, what a silo is, like a grain silo to store stuff in, and it's in an enclosed space. But basically what it means is that one information system is incapable of communicating with another information system on the same device, because it's basically sequestered and it's trapped in a, quote, silo. And so it sounds to me like you've really solved the dilemma of protecting and keeping secure an employee's personal device that's used for business, because the app ensures complete protection and a very clear differentiation between the two. So, I mean, that's simply amazing to me. And I'm sure our listeners, as well as employees that are working remotely, and companies and corporations, are very interested in learning more about this. So obviously, in the current environment, a lot of people are being forced to work from home. And so this is something that I think is really going to see a huge amount of interest in. And so I'm glad that we can help you get the word out a bit on this. So what would you say in the current climate now, which when we're recording this, what are some of the current issues that are facing the quote forced work from home situation in light of the COVID-19 coronavirus?
I think that the biggest challenge when allowing users to work from home is the access to the organization, to the corporate network and information. And by doing so, by the fact that the users are staying at home and have access to all this information, I think it allows hackers to hack more easily into the corporate information, because now it's not like if the employee is sitting inside of near his PC and doing his stuff inside the intranet. He's actually accessing the intranet, the corporate intranet, from remote. So now there's another layer of networking that allows that actually adds security risks into the whole communication aspect of it. So when users are working from home and accessing the data, if it's from their PC or if it's from their mobile device, if someone is hacking into their home PC or hacking into their mobile device, these hackers actually have access to the corporate information, because it's like a backdoor to the company data and networking. And that's the major risk, the risk that we are seeing at the moment, especially when we are seeing this increase of people working from home. Companies are looking for solutions for that. So, we have the old solutions, for example, like installing a VPN. Mm-hmm. But if someone is on the go and he wants to use his mobile device to access their email, their corporate email, it introduces a risk, because hacking into a mobile these days is very easily. And we also here recently, I can read in the past few days even a lot of articles and experts that are talking about the sharp increase in hacking and phishing methods and incidents, and because people are utilizing that, people are in panic. And it's much more easier to get people to press on a link or to use a phishing method, because they are seeing something that relates to COVID-19. They will press it because maybe it's an important information, but actually it's a backdoor. It's a phishing method to access the organization. So
yeah, and obviously there are always going to be bad actors that are going to try to take advantage of a situation. And we are seeing absolutely a sharp increase in the amount of attempted hacks and successful hacks into people's devices. Because if I am a remote worker and I've got a home computer, whether it's my laptop or my desktop, and now all of a sudden I'm using my computer to access the corporate network, now I've got a connection to it, but in the meantime, maybe I've got my personal email running on the side here, and so I could be, checking my email maybe at lunch or when I'm taking a break, and so I want to make sure that I have, no issues with, my system, but the corporation has no control really over that, and so having a problem with my local personal computer is going to cause potentially major problems, because now when somebody that gets into my system or some sort of malware can now in turn get into the corporate network. And, it's something I've talked about quite a lot, and companies are looking for solutions. So being able to use somebody's device and not have to buy them another phone or another, program for that matter, or device, a computer, etc. They can just use the super app that you guys have created to do that. And so we'll get it more into, how you guys price it and stuff like that. But with can this be used with other devices besides a smartphone? I guess is probably one of the first questions that comes to my mind.
Absolutely, that's a good question, Pete, because it's an account. It's a virtual environment. So first of all, you can use it on your PC. So you can access your account on your PC and then have a reflection of your mobile device on your PC. It can also be used in any other device. Let's say, a simple example, when the user device has been broken or stolen or is not accessible at the moment, you can take your tablet or even your spouse device and just log into your account. And then within a couple of minutes, you'll have all your environments set up as if it was your own device, and you can play with that. You can do whatever you want, and then remove it from that mobile device. So it's also allow you flexibility. I think in general, people are using more and more their mobile devices, especially when they are at home, and they want to be more accessible. I see myself as an example because I'm at home for the last couple of weeks because we've been forced to do so.
Right.
And I'm here with my kids, and I cannot be in front of my PC all the time. And I want to be reactive. I want to respond to emails, to messages all the time. I want to have access to that. So sometimes I'm just sitting next to my kid, and I just want to do something, just have access to something, to messaging or to get phone calls or to my emails. So I'll do that with my mobile. So on top of everything, I think people will be using their mobile more and more, especially in this period.
So you can access the workspace from your computer, but it basically is designed to be installed on an iOS or an Android device.
Yes.
Okay. So that's good because you have more ways of accessing the data. Now,
exactly.
Obviously, security is a huge concern for everybody. I do cybersecurity consulting. I have an online cybersecurity course that businesses can do to learn how to create a cybersecurity business plan, essentially, and do so without having to be like an expert in IT or hiring consultants or additional employees to do so. But a lot of people don't know where to start, but they understand the importance of having a very secure environment. And of course, there's no such thing as 100% security. Anybody that says something's 100% secure, run, because there's no such thing. You can get really close to it, but people will, cyber criminals are always going to find a way, either through some sort of phishing, in the computer, or some sort of compromise or some sort of hack and coming in through some open port in the router. There's 100 ways that they can do it, 1,000 ways they can do it, and then some. So how, for those that are working more now from home, what could you tell them about, setting up a more secure work from home infrastructure that would really be great from both the company and the employee perspective?
So first of all, with our solution, we are trying to simplify stuff. So instead of now installing VPN and mobile device management and putting more stuff that, on one hand, increasing security level, but on the other hand, really harm the privacy of the employee. So before I will talk in what can be done, we are trying to simplify that. So by just installing this environment, this application that my IT admin created for me, and pre-configured everything, so the end user who is not really a cybersecurity expert like yourself, he just needs to install the app, and when he is installing the app is secured, is encrypted. The back end is connected via default VPN to our servers and to the company servers, so it doesn't have to do anything about that.
That's awesome.
That once is done that. Now, if he's not using stuff like that, there are a few ways that some know, some maybe doesn't. stuff like installing a VPN and then connect to their work PC remotely. This is one way that a lot of companies are doing. But still, it requires it requires an IT guy to install all this environment on my home PC. So, I see that a good example from my wife. She's now also working from home. So she had to take her PC to their IT guy, and he had to install the VPN and the remote access and a lot of stuff that needs to be done. And for a non-expert people like my wife, she's a designer. She doesn't understand computers. She's a very non-techie person. I see her.
I can sympathize. My wife is the same. She's like, thank God I married you.
Exactly. And what happens? She's coming to me every once in a while, asking me, what I was supposed to do here? I mean, I don't remember my password. Am I supposed to launch my remote PC before the VPN or after? So things could be a little bit complicated for non-techy people.
So with this solution, so can we have, for example, like let's say I have a company and I've got 50 remote workers that I now have to have work from home. They can't come into the office for a period of time, or we've changed our business model and this is how we're going to do things now. So does somebody at the company basically configure everything that they want to see inside the Cubed mobile application so that when I say, okay, go to our corporate website and download, I'm assuming like a customized Cubed mobile application for, XYZ company, it'll have all the information within that. So as soon as the employee downloads it and creates this siloed workspace on their existing mobile device, it'll have, for example, VPN connection data. It'll have corporate contacts. It'll have forms. It'll have whatever they're used to having or that they need to do their job. All by being like kind of a pre-configured solution. Is that how it works?
Yes, precisely. So actually, when my IT admin guy is sending an invite to me as an employee, this invite I will get this invitation by an SMS, and it will be an invite with a deep link information. So once I've launched this link, it will take me to the App Store or to the Google Store to download the app. But after the app will be downloaded, the deep link information will be used to pre-configure all my environments. So all my security settings, we haven't mentioned the communication aspect of it. But even if, for example, if the admin also assign a new phone number to me to be used in my organization, so that will be also pre-populated inside my app. So
it actually will give you a second phone number too.
Yes.
Wow, that's really
we haven't spoken about the fact that it's security, but also unified communication.
So does that mean that if you and I work for the same company and I'm on the phone with somebody, I could transfer a call to you?
Yes. we can speak freely between us because we are in the same organization, and it also allow you to allow us as employees to call outside, to any number, not without using my personal phone. So
so it wouldn't use the person's personal plan if they're concerned about using up their minutes.
Exactly.
Wow. So how does that work on the backside without getting too technical? It's using the corporate resources by going through their network, like an IP-based phone solution that they've already got, like a VoIP solution, and it just kind of piggybacks on that?
So we have our own PBX, it's our own switch in the cloud.
Okay.
It's a cloud switching system, cloud communication system, which is very flexible. So I can give my customers, the company, I can give them all the services. So I can give him the numbers and the termination service so they can call out. But since it's flexible, I can also connect the organization PBX system to his own organization. So basically, for example, an employee has a desk phone. His desk phone will be deployed on his Cube Mobile device.
With the extension and everything.
With the extension and everything.
Wow.
Yeah. So the organization PBX will be connected as a piggyback, like you mentioned, to my communication system.
This is going to be huge. I totally see this being a huge deal here, because the simplicity combined with the security, combined with the convenience, is something that businesses are going to look at and go, wait a minute, I can do all of this, and I don't have to go buy all my employees new phones or new devices. I don't have to worry about doing anything other than configuring this basically like once, right? And then I guess maybe making tweaks for each employee. But other than that, I mean, you've got a solution that is a very robust and is going to save companies tons of money and tons of time. And who doesn't want to save both of those things?
That's what we're hoping. That's why we came up with this holistic solution, which is it's actually trying to simplify the life of an employee and the user. So from an employee point of view, it's very simple to deploy, and from an employee point of view, it's very easy to deploy on his own device. And I think there's also some security aspects to the communication itself. People are now using a lot of the time. They're using Teams from Microsoft, or Slack, or we have a lot of tools like that. So first of all, we do allow company to use any communication tools they want, because it's a virtual machine. So you can install your Slack account or your Teams account. But if you want a higher level of security, then you can use our communication system, which has our own proprietary layer of security that increase the security of the voice communication.
What level of security?
Yes.
What level of security is that? Encryption.
So in the SIP protocol, we have our own proprietary engagement. If you know a little bit about SIP protocol, so when you are calling out, there is a simple SIP protocol that does the hello and the negotiation between the client and the server.
Right.
So we added another layer that it's a token management system. So first of all, when you're calling from our agent, from our SIP agent to our SIP communication system, there's a token exchange, which is on top of this regular token exchange of the regular SIP protocol. Okay, so it adds another layer of security to the exchange between the client and the server.
Well, you said to me earlier that you have a demo, so I think this would be a perfect time that you could do a quick demo of what you've got. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds perfect. So
because that way people can actually see how it works, and I think they'll be fascinated. And so if you're listening to this, jump onto our YouTube channel and watch this portion of it if you want to see a demo of this with Zach, and that would be give you a good idea. Of course, you can always go to cubemobile.com and see what it is that the different features of this super app. And it's fascinating technology, and I really think that the company's gonna explode. So let's see what you got here. Give me a demo. Sell me.
So I will share my screen right now, okay?
Yep, you should be able to do that. Yep, there you go.
Here I am. Just let me minimize some of the stuff that are not needed. And now I will go to our management system where basically everything begins. So once this is the dashboard, let's jump over that because it's not really important at the moment. So when an IT person, an employee, organization manager, whoever they are, when they are registering to our services, first of all, everything starts from the management system, So from that management system, I can invite users. So I'm inviting users by their phone number and some other contacts information that I can put in. Once I launch this invitation, the users will get this SMS with a deep link, which I've described earlier. And he will go through some verification processes and install the super app in his end. And I will show you the app in a minute because I can reflect my phone on my screen. But from that point onward, once the user was verified, me as an admin, I have a full access and have full control to him. So I can, for example, suspend the user. I can suspend the user. I can delete the user, for example, if the system or me as an IT admin found some security issues.
So if somebody loses their phone, you could just temporarily turn off access, and then they, 2 days later, they're like, "Oh, I found my phone in my couch." You can say, "Okay, great," and you can then turn it back on.
Exactly. I can manage his communication features. So, for example, this user has another US number. Okay, me and my personal phone, I have a Israeli number, but I also have a US number that I was allocated, that the IT allocated to me. I can do some settings like allowing the user to change the wallpaper, or I can limit the credit points for the user in terms of if the user is making calls outside of the organization to landline or to mobile phones, he can, for example, call Cuba, and where the calls are very expensive, and you can exhaust all the credit and the points of the company. So I can limit that.
So that's what the points are.
Yeah, that's what the point. That's why we have the.
So what is a credit?
A credit, basically, 1 point, 100 points is $1.
Okay.
$1 is 100 points.
So we got $5 there.
Yeah, I've got $5 there, and $5, for example, in the US, it can give me hundreds of call minutes in the US, almost unlimited. And organization that wants to, they can of course negotiate with us on plans, but let's not go into that.
Right. You have a push to talk feature.
Sorry?
That's a push to talk feature?
Yeah, that's a push to talk feature. So we do allow our users to do a push to talk. And one of the ideas behind that is to give the users the feel like they are sitting next to each other, like in the office. So sometimes at the office, I want to just go to my colleague cubicle and just tap on his shoulder. So instead of actually calling him and wait until he will answer, and then he might not even answer. But in a push to talk, I can just send a push to talk message to him, like a walkie-talkie, and I know that on the other end he heard me.
So that's like, I remember Sprint had that feature a long time ago, and I loved it and I hated it because, for the clients that were also on the Sprint network, I guess it was Nextel, they, sometimes I'd be just sitting there and I'd be working, or I'd be with a client, and all of a sudden they'd be like, "Hey, Peter, you there?" And I'd be like, "No, I'm in the middle of something, call me back," or whatever. So does this have a feature where, I know they used to have it where you could like send an alert, where it was kind of like, you could say, "Okay, send an alert to Pete and see if he's available." And then if you don't respond, you don't go to it? Or do you just say, "Hey, I want to talk to Zach. Hey, Zach, what's up?" Like,
you can disable that. And you, Pete, you can even say that I don't want to get any PTT at the moment. I want to be do not disturb.
Okay, cool.
Position. So other stuff like you see other users, or this is an important feature, if he can install applications on his environment. So I'm showing you a quite open and a low security level environment because I'm allowing the user to do anything he wants.
Right. Which obviously in a corporate environment, you're probably going to want to limit that and just have the applications on there that have been company approved. Because next thing you know, they're, loading up the device with stuff that you may not want on there.
Exactly. And we'll talk about backdoors in a minute. Because once, if I'm allowing the user to install any app he wants, then apps could be a backdoor for a leakage to the company information.
Sure. Cool.
Some other stuff that the admin can do. Let's talk about managing the apps. So basically, the organization have its own app store. So
nice.
These are the apps that can be deployed that the user can see. Moreover, I can also add an application that was developed internally, like an APK. Okay, an application that is not in the Google Store. When I want it, it's a corporate application, and I want it to be installed on my users' phones. So I can circulate this app with this app store, with this internal app store.
Very cool. So you can totally customize this any way you want by adding in standard applications from either the Google Play Store or the Apple Store, plus add in any kind of custom solution that has been developed. That's very, very cool.
Precisely. I can blacklist apps. I can put a list of applications that are recommended.
Which would be basically like pre-approved. So you're basically saying, hey, we recommend these because we know they're okay to install. You can install them if, whether or not you want to, that's up to you, but we will let you install these.
Exactly. And also, before I'm jumping into the app itself, this is the communication aspect and management. So from seeing all the phone numbers I bought to the organization, and then I can assign and unassign them to each user.
Oh, wow.
I can buy more phone numbers to my organization. So at the moment, I'm showing you just a limited number of countries, but basically it will be open to about 45 or more countries. So any organization could buy different numbers from different countries. So let's say, for example, a salesperson in the US, but he has customers in the UK. Why not having a UK number so his customer can call him on a UK number?
Plus, when he calls them, it'll show up in the caller ID that it's a local number, and they're going to be much more, apt to possibly answer that phone number. I know it's crazy because we have so many robocalls that come through in the US, and a lot of them are all, they're coming in as local numbers. So they're kind of using a version of this sort of technology to make people think, oh, this is a local cell phone number exchange. Maybe it's a new customer. And you answer the phone, exactly. And next thing you know, it's somebody, trying to sell you who knows what. So, but this is a very, very cool technology. Like you said, if you've got sales reps all over the world or all over the country, you can assign them a local number to wherever they are.
Exactly. Pete, let's jump to see the app for a minute.
Yes, absolutely.
To show you the users list again. Now I will launch so let me move you a little bit so our audience could see my phone. So this is my phone. Let me unlock it. Now you can see my code. I will change that after our discussion.
Yeah. So people that are not watching this, basically there's a virtual interface that has popped up right on his computer screen, and it is an absolute replication of the phone itself, showing the home screen with the apps and everything else. Very cool.
This is actually my phone. This is actually my private phone. It reflected. I'm using an application called Voco, which allows me to show my phone screen on my PC.
That is neat.
Okay, so what you're seeing now is my private phone. Okay, I have my own private applications. I have my own private WhatsApp, and I can do whatever I want to. But when I want to access my organization phone, my work phone, I go to the Cube mobile icon. I'm launching it, and I'm open an entirely new environment that is exactly like a regular phone. So you don't need any training or walkthrough about it, because it's anyone knows how to use a phone. So in here I have my communication center, so I can dial to any number I want.
Very cool.
Or I can see the contact. So right out of the box, I can see the contacts that are already in my organization. So it will be easier for me to interact with them. I don't need to enter their contacts. And any new user that is adding to my organization will be automatically pushed to my contacts.
Wow.
I can also import and copy contacts from my private phone. I can show you that later. But in essence,
no, that's fine. But that just having that capability is great, because a lot of people are probably saying, "Hey, before I put this application on and we started using Cube Mobile, I've got 300 customers in my phone. I don't want to go put them all in again into the other phone. That's crazy. Who would want to do that? Nobody. So you have an easy way that they can, I guess, flag whatever contacts they want, and it'll move them over into the Cube Mobile contacts."
Yeah, let's say a salesperson that left the company now someone is coming in to replace him. So the IT can just deploy all his customers basically automatically and very quickly to the phone is supplying, to the virtual phone is supplying to the new guy.
Very cool. So this is an incredible technology here, and here we could. I can have you, if you want to, you could stop your screen share now if you've got everything that you wanted to show us. Essentially, it's a product that is going to save companies so much, I think, so much time and energy, and give them that peace of mind that comes with having a secure environment and a managed environment that they have total control over. It's really going to give a lot of executives and a lot of IT people at these companies sort of a sigh of relief to know that there's something that exists like this, that there's a solution that once it's set up, it's very easy. It looks very easy to manage. It's very flexible, and it gives you the power to do some things that I've never seen able to be done with, in this way, and do it from an interface that is super simple. I mean, just you showing our listeners and myself the interface, I'm sure just about anybody can figure it out within just a few minutes because of how it is. I mean, obviously the more technical side of it, perhaps not, but very cool. So how do you see this really one of the biggest benefit to helping scale small companies? And I think I know the answer, but I'll let you answer that.
I think this is a very good point, because I believe at least that at the beginning it will be much easier to deploy that in SMBs, small medium companies, because we can see today SMBs usually either they will use a third-party IT, like an outsourced IT, to manage all their IT environment and sort out their security problems. And we also, based on some research, we found many of them doesn't even do anything about security.
It's scary.
So, yeah, and that I think it's scary because it's put a lot of risk to the company. So by simplifying stuff and even reduces cost to the company, to the small company, they can quite easily ramp up, go to the next stage of security without really being security experts like Cupid, or even less, someone that just need to do the basic stuff.
So does this also have the capability, and you bring up a good point, Zach, is Okay, so I'm a managed services provider. I provide different sorts of services for network monitoring and offsite, cloud-based backup services and stuff like that. Do you have like an interface where a service provider such as myself could help smaller businesses by managing, multiple Cubed Mobile accounts from a single dashboard? Or would I have to log into each one separately?
No, yeah, what I've shown you, that's a good point, Pete. What I've shown you, it's an admin level management system. We have a super admin management system, which is like a level that allows you to manage tenants. So you like an expert, security expert and service provider, you can have different tenants because you're a super admin. And
Right.
then each customer of yours will be a tenant inside your organization, and you can just manage them one by one.
That
And
way.
just do
Okay.
everything for them.
So you can kind of do that. Very neat. Because there are, obviously there are people out there like myself that are thinking, how can I use this to, make money for myself by helping organizations that maybe don't have the time or the energy or the resources or the expertise to manage something like this. So a centrally, accessible dashboard would be a fantastic way to do that. Whether like you're talking about set up tenants, and I mean if you got to log into every account, okay, fine, not a big deal, but it's pretty neat. So let's talk about, before we get into like the pricing of this, so if there is, for example, a problem with a user's device and it happens to get some malware or something in there, how does the organization receive a notification of that? So like I'm using this and all of a sudden I install an app, and it was an app that was a recommended app that I was allowed to install, but unbeknownst to the company, it has been compromised, or there is a security flaw that is major that maybe we don't know about yet, because that happens all the time. So now there's a problem with my device. How is that monitored and reported back to the manager of the system?
This is something that we are still working on.
Okay.
We have at the moment basic capabilities of monitoring these kind of threats. We are cooperating. We are partnering with a third party. I cannot reveal his name yet.
No, that's fine.
But they are a malware and a very well-known antivirus, and we will basically use their services inside our system to monitor all the security aspects of it, because we cannot do everything. We are a relatively small company at the moment, and we'll have to use third party.
Sure. And I mean, that's really the smart thing to do, is to lean on the expertise of somebody who's already doing it and has been doing it for a while, because you don't want to become an antivirus company too. You want to be able to focus on this app and improving and adding features, et cetera. So it's that's very exciting, because having that capability now, again, it's another way that a corporation can breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief, knowing that, hey, I'm using this solution. It's got security built into it. If there's a problem, we're going to know about it. Whether it's, the ability to monitor, these rogue packets that are going out in the background to some strange IP in another country we know nothing about, or if it just detects some sort of, keylogger or something like that in there. Those are all important things that unfortunately you have to be worried about today. And quick little aside, I know, I don't know, it's maybe a couple of years ago or so that, when people were downloading a lot of the free flashlight applications onto their smartphones when they didn't have them in there. And there was a study done by a guy who basically had a free flashlight application on his phone, and his phone was doing some weird things, and he was actually the head of an IT company. And so he gave the phone to his IT guys, and he was like, look, man, there's something going on with this phone, figure it out. And they found out that a free flashlight app that he had put on his device was actually lurking in the background and sending data to a server, and I think it was like Russia, and who knows what data it was sending to them. So they ended up doing some more research and found out that something like 8 out of the top 10 flashlight applications that people could download for free were actually malware programs that were designed to capture and send user data to other foreign companies and bad actors for purposes of, whatever, identity theft or financial, gain or whatnot. And so he developed his own program. I think it's called Privacy Flashlight, and it's actually the one that I use on my phone because of that. And I know the newer iPhones have them, but it's called Privacy Flashlight, and it doesn't need access to anything, because that's the other scary thing, right? You install these applications on your device, and what's the first thing it says? We want access to the microphone, and we want access to the camera, and we want access to your contacts, and it's like, well, wait a minute, why does a flashlight app need access to everything on my phone? And the answer is it doesn't. But how many people really stop and think about it? They think, I want this app, I want it, you want access to my stuff? Yeah, whatever. And they click it. And that is a big problem. And if you're not careful, it's going to come back and bite you, potentially in a very, very bad way.
There was another example just recently, I think maybe a few months ago, an application that I forgot the app name, but you took a picture of yourself, and within a few seconds, it showing you how you will look like when you will be 60. So you can, for example, do you remember that?
Yes, an aging app.
It was a hit here in Israel. Everybody used that app, and the download rate was amazing. But then someone noticed and post somewhere, I think on Facebook, he said, anyone noticed that this app that just need to show you how you look like when you are 60 have access to all the things in your phone? And have you noticed that this application is coming from Russia? So I think
scary stuff.
Scary stuff. A lot of information was stolen back then. And I think, and you know what people are doing with that, because once they are stealing your information, your access to your email or to other of your apps, it can be really scary. I mean, stealing cookies and stealing passwords.
Yeah, identity theft, is a huge problem. It's probably the number one security risk right now. People ask me all the time, what do you think is the most dangerous thing? Is it offline threats, like a physical attack or robbery, or is it something online? And I say it's online, because the bottom line is, when you look at how much time we spend online and everything that we do, all the things we install, all the websites that we're going to, et cetera, your risk footprint is way greater than the likelihood of you walking down the street and getting mugged, for example. And so you have to be really aware of these issues. And again, like, it's a hot new app, everybody wants it, everybody gets it, they think it's so cool, oh wow, check this out, and they don't think about what the long-term ramifications of that are if they're not paying attention. And I think we've become so used to just, grabbing whatever app and installing it, and we're so used to seeing so many apps ask for all of those permissions that a lot of times we're not even thinking about it. Well, why on earth does this app that's just taking a picture, okay, yeah, I know I got to give it permissions to access my camera, but why does it need access to everything else? But also, if you're granting access to that app, to your camera, for example, how do you know it's not going to activate that camera whenever it feels like it? Because we all know that can happen too, and it can activate the camera without showing you any LED lighting up on the device. So it might be recording what you're doing wherever you are, whatever you're doing. You could be somebody that's entering a building. It could be watching you enter in a passcode or entering a PIN, or whatever that happens to be. It could be used to watch what's happening if you're going into like a secure facility. Maybe you're a government worker or a bank worker or somebody like that, and they're using it to scope out the layout of a bank to see, hey, where's the safe, how much is in there. So it's scary when we think about all the risks that are out there. So having something that enables a corporation to control the access to not only what gets installed on the device, but also to be able to lock it down and do all these other features are just something that a lot of businesses and a lot of employees, I think, are going to feel really good about, knowing that, hey, I've got all my personal stuff on my phone, but I've also got my corporate, account here. Never the two shall meet. They're completely separate. I don't have to worry about something, on my personal side compromising my corporate network because they're siloed apps, and it's something that is going to give a lot of people peace of mind, especially with every day you turn around and see the different breaches. Like Marriott Hotels just had their second security breach in 2 years. Over 5 million records were stolen. Now, maybe you don't have your social security number in there, but you got your Marriott rewards number, maybe you got your home address, so you've got other information that they're stealing. And, when you compile that and you create a profile of someone that you want to target, all of this information makes it a lot easier for them to go in and steal your identity or hack into an investment account or a bank account or whatever it happens to be. Even medical, Medicare accounts. That's a big one, especially, the fraud going on now. People are getting contacted saying, hey, you want to get your stimulus check? We need your bank account. We need your routing and an account number to make your deposit. So people are like, oh yeah, okay, here it is. I can hardly wait to get my money. And then they look at their account the next day and the money's gone. And they think, how did that happen? So we have to be very diligent about every single thing that comes across anymore. And so having something that can simplify it and improve the security of it is always going to be in demand for the foreseeable future, forever. So let's talk about the privacy side of it, because, some people might think, well, I feel like maybe this is a privacy issue with me. And, with the work-life balance side of it. So maybe you could talk about that a little bit, in the privacy side and how it may affect the employee's privacy.
Okay, so I think what the solutions we have now in the market, they are, as I see it, they are impacting privacy, because if an enterprise, a company wants to allow users to use their own device, to be a BYOD organization, you will have to install a mobile device management on the user device. And then this is actually hacking or penetrating the privacy of the user, because now the IT is now in control of my private phone, not myself.
Right.
He can disconnect my phone from remote. He can see which traffic was going on in my device. He can even log me out from my phone. Okay, because there was a threat that he found, and now I need my phone to do something privately, but now I was logged out because of this threat that was found. So
good point.
The fact that we are using a second environment, okay, does not impact the privacy of the user, of the user device itself.
That's huge. That's huge, because I know personally, I helped a local branch of Blue Cross and Blue Shield when they were purchased by Highmark a few years ago. And one of the things that they wanted to do, and I helped do this on a lot of employees' phones, was they had to install an application on their phone and give access to Highmark's information technology department to manage the device. And a lot of people had problems with it. They were like, well, wait a minute. And I made sure that I told them right up front, look, this is what I'm installing and this is why I'm installing it. If you don't want me to install it, fine. You can, talk to the powers that be about it. But essentially, they're going to force you to do this, or you're going to have to make some sort of arrangements to get a second phone. And a lot of people were very skittish about it, and rightfully so, just for that reason, where they don't want the company they work for to have complete access over their privately owned device.
Exactly. I used to work for about a few years ago, when I lived in the UK, I worked for a Japanese company, and they were very, very strict with security. And they forced me to install the MDM on my phone, and they didn't give me any other choice because they didn't want to pay for a second phone. And they told me, if you want access to your email and the organization from your own device, you'll have to install the MDM. So I felt like it's not my phone anymore, because it's the company phone. I don't have any control over it. And, I was reluctant to do stuff which are private. I was thinking twice every time I go into a website or sending a message, because I didn't feel that I have privacy on my phone.
No, it's very uncomfortable when you have remotely, the mobile device management, MDM, takes over your device. And and you don't want to have to think twice every time you pick up your phone to do something. I mean, that's just not right. You want to be able to do what you need to do, and that's it. You do something in the personal environment, you do something in the work environment, you keep them separate. And that's why Cubed Mobile, I think, you've got the best of both worlds here. And so let's talk a little bit. We're flying through our hour. Zach, I knew we were going to. There's more that I would like to get to. I'm gonna have to see what I want to talk about as we get wrapped up here. But when an organization has a BYOD, or a bring your own device policy, and they have that, what sort of precautions should they be aware of when implementing that program?
That's a good question. I think what they need to take in consideration mainly is the apps that they will allow to install on this second environment. For instance, there are pros and cons. For example, on one hand, I'm a salesperson, okay, and I want to have my business WhatsApp, so I can interact with my customers and on WhatsApp. So the admin allows me to install WhatsApp. So I have my own business WhatsApp, I have my private WhatsApp, and this is not mixed up. Because I had a case a few times even when I accidentally sent a not very appropriate message to someone that I didn't want to get it, because it was a business partner. So this very clear separation prevent me to do stuff like that. This is the pros. The cons is that now the WhatsApp on my environment, my second environment, is actually a backdoor, because me as a salesperson, I can maybe send sensitive information outside to other people via the WhatsApp. So there's the pros and cons, and we will have to leave it with the IT manager to just control that and value, take into consideration these pros and cons and decide what he wants to do.
Well, very true, because we've all done that, where we've sent it and then gone, oops, and you can't take it back. And so having that very clear separation, saves you, embarrassment at best and potential job risk at worst, right? Because depending on what you're sending and who you're sending it to, hey, I'm thinking about a job over here. And all of a sudden you send it to somebody that you didn't want to get, like your boss, and they're like, oh, really? So that, that could end up being very, very bad. So I would say that, it looks like the best way to, I'm going to set you up for this one. What is the best way to incorporate personal and business data on a single device? Cubed Mobile, right? That's the answer, right?
Yeah, I think
sure.
That's what we're trying to do, and to offer such a solution that will allow you to manage that in a better way. Okay.
So let's talk about price, because we all do have to wrap up. But so I pulled up the website here, and you have a couple of different options. Look at there's 3 different options. So there's a free option actually for teams up to 5 users for unlimited time. So somebody could actually, with a small team of up to 5 people, use your solution for nothing.
Yeah, you can use it for nothing. The only thing they will have to pay is the call out and the numbers. If he wants to add call outs and additional numbers, then he will have to purchase only that.
Wow. So basically as much or as little as you would need, which you would have to pay for anyway. But other than that, the management and the environment is free. So that's fantastic. So people want to try it out, maybe with a small team within your company, maybe within, maybe some of the managers or something like that, to see how this actually works before you deploy it throughout your entire organization. You can try it for nothing, which is unbelievable. And then you have a standard option here for small and medium-sized businesses starting at under $5 a month, $4.90 a month. That's per user, I would assume?
That's per users per month, yes.
Okay. So again, very inexpensive. I mean, you got a solution, you got, 10 people, you're talking $50 a month. It's nothing. And then of course, enterprise level, for businesses that have more than 200 users, they would contact you, and I'm sure they'd get a little bit of a discount on that because of so many people, using it, correct?
And then we can negotiate on the price, and also on the pricing of the numbers and the call-outs, and offer them different packages that are suitable for an enterprise.
Very, very cool. So I must say I'm very impressed with the technology, Zach. I appreciate you coming on and explaining it to our listeners and viewers. If they're interested in learning more about you or Cubed Mobile, they can obviously visit the website, which is Cubed, CUBED, mobile.com. I'm assuming they can also search and find you on social media as well, correct?
Yes, correct. On LinkedIn and Facebook, we are trying to be out there as possible.
Yeah, very important. That people should follow you, because then they're going to learn more about the technology probably and features, and you can, learn about it. So I'll make sure that I post your links along with the interview, make it easy for our listeners to connect. Do you have any last thoughts for our audience before I let you go?
No, I think we've said it all. That was quite a fascinating call, to be honest, Pete, especially with an expert like you. I really enjoyed that call. I had a lot of fun.
Well, my pleasure. It was great to have you on.
And also, there's also another one that is signaling that times is up. My son just burst in the room.
Dad, you done? So that's fantastic. So I appreciate that. There he is. What's up, buddy? So thank you so much for being on Safety Talk. Thank you so much to our listeners for tuning in. And you can always get more information, past episodes, and the latest news about safety at safetytalkpodcast.com. You can watch our interview videos at safetytalkvideos.com. And for listeners that want more information about cybersecurity, you can learn the 7 simple steps to create a cybersecurity program for your business at cyberbizplan.com. So until next time, everybody, please stay safe.